thing, but it's not compulsory. So this is just a mechanical pencil that I filled with red lead. I found that size 7 is my favorite because it breaks the least when I use it. You may have a completely different system for mechanical pencil lead. I don't know.
I didn't even know you could get red pencil.
Yep.
Oh, no, me either.
I was going to ask, why are you doing? Oh, because then you're going to go over it in black.
Then I'm going to go over it in black. When I was first drawing, and I was using the computer, but I wasn't drawing on it yet. I was still drawing pen and paper, and then scanning it in. And I had a number of troubles. For starters, you draw double size. So I didn't have a scanner that was that big because they're very expensive. So I'd have to scan my pictures in 2, sometimes even 3 pieces. So I'd start building the art around that, having like clean breaks where I'm gonna scan it in. But then also, my early stuff, I would just pencil it with like regular black or gray pencil, charcoal pencil, and then ink over that, and then try and erase the pencil out from underneath it. That's awful. Because first of all, you have to erase a piece of paper that's this big, and that goes through a lot of erasers and tires at your arm. And then no matter how much you let it dry and try and find the right inks and whatnot, you're always going to smear your ink. And so then I switched to, I found there's a kind of pencil that's called non-photo blue. It's like a light cyan that cameras can't see. It's a weird special color that they don't get picked up on. So that was nice because then I could scan straight to the computer and not have to erase anything. And seeing the pencils behind the inks on the final artwork, I think looks cooler than seeing it without. And so I was doing that. But then the problem with non-photo blue is also very light, and I was having trouble seeing it sometimes. And so like there's big gouges in the paper where I was trying to get this line on there, and there's just blue all over the place because it's like really waxy. So I wasn't enjoying that. And then I was doing some other project that involved camera, like color separations, and I realized this is early days, it was like 2001, 2002, and my Photoshop has different channels to make the colors. I don't know if anybody knows about CMYK and RGB. I can explain them if you're interested. It's not interesting. Not but
No, I don't know anything about it. Not that I'm not interested.
There's 2 different ways that you can use a few colors to make all the colors. And there's one way for when you're using ink and you're printing something out, and then the other way when you use it on the computer. And don't mix them up or there'll be trouble. And, so there's a red channel and a blue channel and a yellow channel and a black channel. And then so when you scan it in, the non-photo blue comes on the blue channel if you play with it. And then all the inks are on the black channel. And so like, oh, I could just scan this in and separate the colors using the channels and not even have to buy the special, expensive, hard-to-use non-photo blue pencils. I just need to pick a color that is definitely not black and use that. So after some experimentation, I found that red, I can see it the best, ink completely over it, and then delete it very easily. So that just became my thing, is using this red. Other people do this, and then a lot of people don't. So it's just my personal preference. So now that I'm doing it on the computer pretty much entirely, and I don't even have to do that anymore, I still pencil in red on the computer and then ink it in black because that's now what I'm used to looking at. And it's just what works for me. So this brush that I'm using is a Tombow brand dual tip brush. It's got like a thin marker end on this side, and it's got a brush on that side. I don't use the brush all that much. They pull from a common inkwell, so once I run out, I've used this side too much, this side won't work either. I use it sometimes if I'm filling in a lot of black, or if I am putting like a double thick outline on it and I want to use that, but I'm not super proficient with the brush look. There's, a brush look to comic book inking that some people do, pardon me, amazingly well, and I'm not one of them because I'm not a very patient person, and I like to be instantly good at something, so I'm not the best at learning new things.
This is a naive question, but why do you do it in the pencil first?
If I just started drawing with ink without some guides underneath, it probably wouldn't look great.
Really?
There's a lot of getting the proportions and the pose. So I usually do quick, rough pencils. It's not as detailed as it's going to be. But I do a lot of my placement and like figuring it out. Like, because half the time you start drawing without a plan and the person's arms are cut off the page in a way that you weren't intending. So it helps for me to get all my thoughts on paper. And then if like I'm doing this red pencil sketch and I don't like how it's turning out, I can scribble it up and start again. I don't do that like a ton, but I have the right to do that if it ever isn't working, I'd say. one time out of 20, I'll be like, oh, you know what, this would be better if it was different. So I can do freehand sketches. Oftentimes when I'm autographing someone's book, I'll develop sort of a standard sketch that I put in that book, like if I'm signing a Pirate Penguin book. I can draw a Pirate Penguin in his I'm being signed on a book pose with my eyes closed because I've done it so many times now. But if someone says, oh, can you draw a Pirate Penguin, but he's got a cannon and he's riding a dinosaur? I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to pencil this first and get the pose right. Because probably I can do the Pirate Penguin part okay. If he's at a different angle than usual, it might come out a little mutated.
Do you have a Pirate Penguin here? Because I have no idea what you're talking about.
There's a Pirate Penguin plush toy. This is my character. We made plush toys a couple years back. I'm down to my last 24 plush toys, and we won't be making more anytime soon. So you are getting some of the last few because you're very smart and gave me money in advance to bring you things.
Thank you.
Oh. Like I did with the book.
Like you did with the book, yep. I put out the word before coming to con, like, if you want something specific, you have to tell me to bring it because I only have so much room in my lunch. I was saying something else and I don't remember what it was, but I
Well, it
don't
started
think it was
when I
that
asked you
interesting.
why you use a red pencil
Yeah,
first. If that
so I like
helps.
to pencil first. See, I've got actually a weird jump piece of paper in here. So if I was drawing him without penciling him first, well, this is cheating because I've already started his pose. So I'm going to draw him facing the other direction. Oops, now his mouth is too wide. I have to add a mouth extension. And there's unnecessary connection lines where I can finish it properly.
Still some.
Okay, it's still pretty good. I haven't made it. Let's be fair. I have had a bit of practice drawing dragons. But if I'm trying to do a very good job, I will almost definitely pencil first.
I think the
because
thing that my husband has, I think you did it just in pencil.
Okay.
Regular pencil. But you were just sitting there.
yeah. Well, I don't think I was doing a commission for your husband.
No.
I just wanted to capture his costume because it was
Right.
so cool. So that was just for me. And then you guys stole it. No.
No, he showed it to me and
Yeah.
I said, go get it, son!
Yeah. I think I took a picture from my archives and then I released it into the wild. I'll do that too if I'm doing commissioned sketches and they're like, I like that one. I'm gonna save that for later.
No, he just happened to, I don't know, he just brought it back to the hotel and I said, where'd you get this? He said, well, I was taking a class and the instructor drew it. Jeez.
Her husband was in probably the most amazing wizard costume that I've ever seen. I'm like, okay, I need some pictures of this because when I draw some wizards, having some photo reference in 3 dimensions will be very helpful.
So do I get a commission?
Nope.
Did I give you permission?
Did you give me permission? Well, I haven't done it yet. I just have some drawings in my archives.
Took me a year.
I will check in with you later on that score and make sure that there are no hurt feelings and everything is fair.
Ask Rob what he put in the original letter when he was trying to stop it to take the film.
It was pretty lawyery. We will send people to kill you, and then we will sue you. We will bring your ghost back to life, and then put your ghost in prison. Ghost prison. Okay, I watched that show.
Are you sure you don't mind if you put this on
Oh, go
the
for it.
webs?
I am a constant seeker of attention. So tag all of your friends.
I will.
Basically,
Hi, friends.
it's publicity.
Yes. I need everyone to become a fan of my work and tell all their friends about it. So if you like the sort of thing that I do, please spread the word for me.
What paper is that you're using?
This is, I am using Bristleboard, which is sort of just the standard thicker paper used for pen and ink. Okay, this isn't technically Bristleboard because it's from Strathmore. This yellow stuff is Bristleboard. Apparently it's from Bristol originally. I don't know. Oops, drop my lid. I was going to say, see it had a lid. But I wouldn't. See, look, I've gotten smudges on the paper, so now I'm going to have to put a little smoke curlicue on here and pretend like I meant to do that all the time. I usually do sort of a double outline on my style where I'll go one time around and then I'll go back a second time and just on all the exterior parts of the figure I'll put another line on there because I think that really makes the image pop and it looks good with my art style. Wouldn't look good on everything, it wouldn't make sense on something that was more
So do you
realistic.
only do happy dragons?
Nope.
If you were
Instantly angry then. His eyebrows. Nice.
Yeah, there's a couple key eyebrow shapes that really just change everything that face is doing. I heard somebody say once, like the less lines you use, the more important every single one of them is. So if you're doing something realistic with like 1,000 lines, you can have some weird little tangents. But if you're doing something simple with 4, and one of them is wrong, you will notice it. It's especially like if you're drawing faces, if you have some facial definition, just like one line drawn right here puts like 30 years on the character's face. In something else with more smooth presentation, like that wouldn't do it. But like, I want this character to be 50, not 80. You know? It's weird. Character design, there's a weird knack to it. I don't fully understand it, but I know how to do it my way to my satisfaction most of the time. And I think this dragon is just about done. I could draw some sort of background whooshing behind him, but I don't think that I'm going to. So the last thing to do, the very most important thing, is sign my name. Because sometimes I forget, and then people go, "Hey, are you counterfeiting your own work again?" And I go, "Yes, counterfeits cost extra."